Hey y'all, it's Danny with Escape Powersports. I'm not sure if y'all can see from up there, but the rear tire on this Polaris RZR is actually kind of crooked. And when you jack the machine up, it's actually got a little wiggle in the wheel and tire from side to side and up and down. Now in order to try and fix that today, we'll be showing step by step how to change the rear outer bushings on your Polaris RZR 800. And after doing some research and some reading on the RZR forums, I've decided to go with Mr. Dave's super tough bushing kits instead of some of the cheaper Chinese kits I'd usually buy on eBay. From everything I've read, these are some of the toughest bushings around, so I'm really looking forward to giving them a shot. So to get both sides done, it's going to be between a 4 and a 6 beer job, so not more than an hour per side. I'm not sure how I'll let this happen, but I'm out of beer around here. But anyway, that's enough chit chat. Let's get started. So I got started by knocking the 17mm lug nuts loose, jacking the bike up, and getting the wheel and tire out of the way. Let's tackle this smaller upper bushing first by removing the 15mm bolt and 15mm nut with 2 ratchets. And I found it helped to put my larger 1/2-inch drive ratchet on the side with the nut, as these bolts are torqued down pretty tight. Gotta love smashing your knuckles on the rotor trying to work too fast. Also find it's helpful to reattach the washer and nut to the bolt and throw them in a labeled Ziploc bag so I don't lose them. With the bolt out, the upper arm will just swing right up. And as you can see here, I used a hammer to prop up the hub to keep the axle from popping out of the diff while we replace these bushings. So to remove the old bushings, I grabbed a flathead screwdriver to start prying them out. Lightly tapping with a mallet as needed to squeeze the flathead between the bushing and the hub. And once I got them started with the screwdriver, it was as simple as grabbing a beefy set of pliers to pull them all the way out. Now it's time to clean out all this debris and corrosion left behind in the hole and get a clean, smooth surface for our fresh bushings. Steel wool or an emery cloth would be perfect for this part of the job, but I couldn't find any around the house, so I had to get creative. So I found a pipe cleaning brush that was about the right size, and that worked pretty good. And it worked even better when I added some parts cleaner to the mix. But it definitely worked best when I cut off the handle and attached it to a drill to spin the brush while adding parts cleaner. Don't worry, they'll definitely clean up by hand with steel wool or emery cloth, and I even got the other side pretty smooth with just the pipe cleaner by hand. Now it's time to install our new super tough bushings. The upper came with these 2 white collars, one for each side of the hole, and a rod to run through the middle. It's important to grease these before we install them, and I went with this WD-40 White Lithium Grease I bought for another project off Amazon. And with the collars all lubed up, I just hammered them into place on each side. Also important to grease the rod and the inside of the bushings before hammering it into place. And this ain't the first time I was really glad to have this 4-pound rubber mallet I found last year on Amazon, because it does take some force to get the rod hammered all the way flush with the bushing. With our fresh bushing in, it's going to take some patience to get that upper A-arm realigned with the hole for our bolt, while also trying to keep the hammering to a minimum. Now embarrassingly, I did resort to tapping the brake rotor with a lighter mallet, which should probably be avoided if at all possible. Then I reattached the 15mm bolt, washer, and nut, and after some research, I believe the correct torque spec is around 40 foot-pounds, but I just went until it was pretty damn tight. Now it's time to repeat this procedure for the bottom bushing, with just a few variations due to the larger size. The lower starts off the same by grabbing our 15mm sockets and removing this bolt, washer, and nut, holding the lower A-arm to the hub. With the bolt out, I was able to lift the hub assembly up slightly and set it on a dirt bike stand for easy access to the bushing. A bucket or another jack would work fine too. Now this lower had 2 spacers on the outside of the bushings that come out by hand. I just set these aside as they won't be reinstalled with our new beefier super tough bushings. Then repeated the process of prying out the old bushings with a flathead screwdriver to the point where they could be wiggled and wrestled all the way out with pliers. And of course, spending the proper amount of time to clean all the nasty shit out of the hole until we have a perfectly clean and smooth surface for our new bushings to sit into. Now with the lower being a bit longer, this kit came with 4 white collar pieces to surround the rod. So I got started by greasing up the 2 spacers that'll go in the middle and hammering one of them into each side. Followed by greasing and hammering in the 2 outer collars. And on a side note, it's probably best to try and avoid getting any grease on the rotor or any other brake parts for that matter. And then finish by lubing up that rod and hammering it in. While there's no getting around the force required to hammer this rod into this hole, we can definitely reduce the risk of damaging other parts by concentrating on not missing our mark. And then go through the frustrating process of lining up the A-arm with the hole for the bolt. And to be honest, once it got close, I did cheat and punch the bolt through with a mallet. Fortunately, it didn't damage the threads. And then we can begin tightening up our washer and nut. And again, I believe the torque specs are in the neighborhood of 40 foot-pounds, or in this case, just pretty tight. And I was sure to smash my thumb on the rotor again.
Ouch!
Now just throw the tire back on, and let's enjoy a beer to saving some cash by doing the job ourselves. And Mr. Dave's bushings seem to be as tough as everyone says they are. They took out almost all of the slack and play of the rear wheels of this RZR that was completely out of control. But there is still a slight lean to that rear tire, so stay tuned, as a wheel bearing video might be in order. So I really hope you found some of this RZR bushing information helpful. And if you did, do me a quick favor and give the video a thumbs up so I'll know I'm on the right track here. And as always, if you have any thoughts or suggestions on how I can improve these videos, or really anything to add on this topic of discussion we're kind of talking about here today, please leave a comment in the section below. I'd love to hear from you. And on a serious note, I'd really like to thank the couple hundred or so guys who found this channel and subscribed. If you find the content on this channel helpful or entertaining at all, keep sharing it with your buddies who ride, and I'll keep videos like this coming. I'm Danny with Escape Power Sports. I really want to thank y'all for watching, and until next time, we'll see y'all on the trails.